I'll be using the twins for a few hours now, and in this video, I'll give you my quick first impression on what I think about their character. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they worth your gems? I'll try to answer them in this video, but just keep in mind that this is just a first impression video. Next week, I'm gonna do a full review on the character, so if you're interested, do like and subscribe. So just to quickly summarize, I'm not gonna go through like the full kit, everything. I will do that next week for the full review. But just a quick appreciation for Lufa.net for this amazing UI. Because you can just click, literally just click any of this role and then it will change the skill. Even the passive also, you can see that this passive is short here, then I change this, remove it, goes back to the long passive. Props to them for the UI. But basically, before battle, you get to choose what skill you bring. You pick 2 skills out of 4 skills. And here are the 4 personas here. So depending on the 2 that you choose, you will have a different role. So you have all the 6 roles: Assassin, Sweeper, Strategist, Saboteur, Defense, and Medic. And honestly, for them, I think the best one is going to be Strategist as a buffer. The buffing ability is pretty good. Everything else is honestly whatever. The DPS are really whatever. They don't do that much damage. They definitely cannot compete with like a character that's built purely for DPS. Saboteur also not that good, because this skill is a healing skill, useless. This skill is a DPS skill, also useless. Because like I said, DPS is already bad, healing not needed. Right? They heal decent, don't get me wrong, they heal decent, but definitely not as good as like a sustain, like a pure sustain unit as like Cherish and Marion. You pick 2 skills, right? Then the third skill is a skill 3. This is a skill that you always have, and the skills effect here, this one, depends on the role of the twins. Like I said, the best one is Strategist, right? The Strategist one is pretty good. It gives skill amplification. I'm not 100% sure what this means. I think it just buffs your skill damage for your team. And also crit damage. And it also buffs depending on the desire level. So desire level can determine not just skill 3, but the other skills also have desire level. And it's actually, I'm not sure how to explain, but it's like divisible by 100. So let's say if you have 150 desire point, which is not really likely at E0. Let's just say you have 150 desire point. You take the 150 divided by 100. That is 1.5. So this effect here, 19.5%, will be multiplied by 1.5 times. This 39% will be multiplied by 1.5 times. This 4.9% will be multiplied by 1.5 times. So the more design level, the stronger your buffs. So the reason why Strategist is good is because of the buffing capabilities. You can see that the buff here is 39% attack buff. Decent buff. And for 3 turns, the 3 turns is pretty good. Thankfully, it's 3 turns. If it's 2 turns, she's gonna be pretty bad, I think. But 3 turns, you use the skill 2 times, like turn 1 and turn 4, you have 100% uptime on the skill. For this Psy and Nuke skill, this one is also pretty good. It increases the pierce rate by 4.9 plus 4.9, 9.8% if it's 100 desire level. But for the highlight also depends on the role you have, or the persona you have. So there are 2 highlights you can choose from. So for the Strategist, the highlight is gonna be increasing party's attack and damage. This is the best highlight in my opinion. Out of all the 6 roles, this is the best one, because it buffs 2 things. It's basically a Wonder buff highlight, but better, because this one not only buff damage, but also buff the attack. Then the other highlight here, this one is also not bad, but it's only an attack increase to Justine, Caroline, as well as the ally with the highest attack. Typically, you're most likely going to use this instead. It's the best one. As for the passive, these are the requirements, the stat requirements that you need for the twins. So you need 4500 attack, and you need 30% damage multiplier and 190 crit damage. Maxing out the stats are important because of the increase to desire level. Like I already explained, desire level is good because it buffs all your skill effects. They will buff more. So if you max out everything, you get 75 desire level. The other passive here, this passive depends on your role also. So the one I'm in, Strategist, the role here is an increase, an attack increase to your party. I know the kit is very important, very confusing, but just know that there's just a bunch of combinations and there's really only just a few very good ones. Now for the 5-star weapon, the 5-star weapon is actually pretty good. You get desire level increase 10% when you use the skill 3. More desire level, more buff, that's good. Then when the facade is gained, facade is basically the stack that you gain when you use the skill 1 and skill 2. The facade of mischief, innocence, the facade of absurdity and nonsense. So different skill, different personas here will have different facade. And different facade will also activate different buffs, because the facade determines your skill 3 buffs or debuffs. Now as for the 5-star weapon, the 5-star weapon is a decent one. It's not really like game changing, but the buffs are good. It's 13% crit damage times 2. Well, it stacks to 2 times, and also damage dealt 13% times 2, so 26% crit damage and damage dealt increase. And you get it when you get facade, which you can use like very often, right? Your rotation is going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 for A0. So you can easily cap out this one. And this number, 13% times 2 is 26%, is higher than Futaba's for a 5-star weapon. So that's already pretty good. But it's not a must-have, I guess. It's just buff. Damage buff. Now let's go awareness. So I forgot to mention global passive. I will dedicate an entire section talking about this. Global passive, if you don't know what's that, it's basically a passive that you get to your entire account the moment you have the character. So for the twins, it's a wonder level increase to skill and highlight. For A1, the A1 is really good. The A1 is you immediately get 2 facades at the start of battle. And then at the start or end of the twins' turns, if they have 2 types of facade, they'll automatically activate skill 3. What this means is that you actually can change the rotation. The rotation becomes 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 because you no longer have to manually click skill 3 because skill 3 activates itself anyways. And this is good because the skill 3 buff is only for 2 turns. So with A1, you are able to use the skill 3 every other turn. Right? Because you can imagine turn 1, you get 1 facade, turn 2, you get 2 facade. Then immediately you activate it. Then turn 3, you get 1 facade, turn 4, you get 1 facade, then you immediately activate the skill 3. So you will always, literally, at A1, you activate all these buffs 100% of the time. So the A1 is really good. So A2 depends on the facade. So basically which skill you use. So for the strategist one, it's going to be Red Ice, the Fire Ice, and Side Nuke. So the nice thing about Luffy.net is that it tells you which combo you selected. So we chose Mischief. This one is an attack buff for your party, and then you get crit damage buff for 20. Right? And then you get a 20% crit damage buff for 2 turns to your DPS. So these are really good. So that's why I say that the support role is the buffer role is the best role for the twins. But of course, this is locked behind A2 and also I guess A1 because A1 gives you easy access to facade because you can use 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 rotation. So you're gonna have facade all the time. A4 is nothing crazy. It's just some buff to the highlight. So the highlight will buff more attack and more damage. A6. At first, I was very excited for A6. I thought it's gonna break the game, but unfortunately, it's not as good as I thought. So the nice thing is the global passive. So just now A0 you get 1 level increase. A6 you get 2 level increase. At the start of battle, you get 1 true desire stack. Then afterwards, you get 1 true desire every 8 turns. That sucks. I thought it was gonna be 8 actions or something. 8 turns is useless because the typical SOS guild boss is 6 turns only. For 8 turns, you will only have this true fire desire stack for 1 time in the entire fight. But it is a really, really good buff because when you use the true desire stack, you will enhance the next activated skill 3. And the enhanced effect is that your skill 3 will have every single buff, all the persona buffs, everything. So all 4 skill buffs you will activate, and then you also do bonus damage. But unfortunately, it's just once per battle. I'm actually disappointed on this one. Now I'm going to dedicate the entire section to global passive because it's a pretty hot topic. So refresher, the global passive of the twins is level increase to wonder, skill, and highlight. If I'm being 100% honest, it's not really a big buff. So let me just give you an example here. So the max level is usually level 6 here. So Rebellion level 6 is 15.7. Level 7 is only a 0.8% increase. It's not really that high. Revolution 10.9 to 11.4 is only 0.5%. Now if you go to like Rakunda for example, 38.8, 40.7. Okay, this one is a slightly higher increase. It's like 1.9 increase. It's a buff, but not a game-breaking buff. The one thing I want to say is that the buffs do like kind of stack because you use like 3 different wonder skills, right? Let's say you use a Rebellion, Revolution, or Rakunda rotation. So all the 3 buffs will stack. Like for example, this one we saw was 0.8%, this one we saw was 0.5%. So that's 1.3% increase to a crit rate. That's kind of higher now. Then Rakunda, it's a 1.9% increase, or I guess defense decrease. So if you put these 3 together, the numbers kind of stack a little bit higher. And we haven't even taken into account Wander's Highlight. Wander's Highlight also gets a buff from the global passive. So for my educated guess, it's probably a 2 to 4% increase in the score. So it's really only like good if you're chasing score, you're from a competitive guild, or you have a strong account. Because you can imagine that if you are 100 million points, the 3% of that is 3 million. 200 million points, 3% of that is 6 million. So the raw number increase can be higher if you have a stronger account. So if you're casual, I really don't think the global passive is gonna be insane. But it's nice to have, I guess. A buff is a buff. For the final section of the video, should you pull Justine and Caroline? So if you are a new or returning player, or if you're a competitive player in a competitive guild and you want to chase score, yes, sure. If you're a new and returning player, you probably don't have a lot of strong characters. Not even strong characters, you probably don't have a lot of characters, which makes team building a little bit more difficult for you. So by pulling Justine, Caroline, you get to slot them into any team. You can use them as a healer, DPS, though DPS not that strong, but healer, DPS, buffer, debuffer. You can kind of do whatever you want with them. Gives you some flexibility in team building. And if you're a competitive player trying to chase score, the gold passive is a small increase to your points. Like I already explained, if your account is strong, that small increase is going to be a pretty big increase. If you're a casual day 1 player, you have quite a few characters already, I think you can safely skip. Because actually from my testing, right, I found out that the twins are as good as Leon, a free 4-star character. But to be fair, Leon is a very strong character, one of the best supports in the game, but still I was expecting a bit more from them. And to let you guys know, it's a A6R0 Leon against an A0R0 twin, and the score is about the same. Some of you guys already saw it because I did a testing on stream. So if you have Leon, which everybody does, then no big reason to get the twin anymore. But I'm not saying that twins are bad, the twins are good, the buffs they give are pretty good, and the bosses I tested were AoE bosses, Nidogger and Dominion, and the pierce rate buff that the twins give isn't as effective against those bosses compared to a single target boss. More testing still need to be done to fully see the potential of the twins. And I mean, if you have the twins, you can always run twins and Leon together for more buffs, which is actually what I'm gonna try and do for the guild boss. I think they're gonna be pretty good to pair together, because having 2 good supports is still better than 1 good supports, I guess. But still, I wouldn't exactly recommend pulling for them. I think it's better to save your gems for even better characters.